Yeah, I know. I know there's a ton of videos about the NASCAR playoffs. I know you people are getting tired of it, but y'all have to hear the criticisms because that's how bad this new format is. Well, technically, it's no longer new. It's been 10 years since we've been in this format. So, you guys are wondering, what is the NASCAR playoffs and why do people hate it? Well, we gotta go back like about 20 years ago. So anyway, if y'all don't know how the NASCAR playoffs began, some people theorizes that because of Matt Kenseth's 2003 playoff stint, well, technically it wasn't the playoff, it was the full season points format, and because he won one race consistent all year to win the title, that people think that that's the reason why we're in the playoffs to begin with. But there is another side of it, is that Brian France was thinking about having a 10 race chase playoff format. Well, back then it wasn't called the playoffs. Back then it was called the chase. And some people still call it chase to this day, which I don't understand why. We receive a ton of negative backlash. And there was a ton of NASCAR was considering it back in the 2000s, back in 2000, but NASCAR didn't pull the trigger. And even though Jeff Gordon left the idea because he thought Brian France was joking, it was still implemented. And some people still think it was Matt Kenseth's fault, which I get it. I mean, I get it. He did win one race and finished the final race of the season in dead last and still walked away with the title. Yeah, it makes sense, but I don't know what to say. So that's where it all began. The first edition with the playoffs was the chase format, where the top 10 drivers will compete in the final 10 races to compete for the championship. And the way it works is that the points after the regular season finale, the points will reset, and then the last 10 races will decide our champion. Honestly, that's honestly the best version of the playoffs, better than what we got today. In his first year, it did really well. It had high ratings and everything. But years went by, getting worse and worse. And because of that, you know the reason why it's getting worse? It's because they keep changing the playoff. They keep changing the chase format. The next change they make is updating it to 12 drivers instead of 10. And then a couple more years later, they decided to add wild cards. And then 2013, after the whole spin gate crap, I think that's where NASCAR draw the line of race manipulation and how they decide the people who will compete for the championship. And for some reason, they added a 13 driver named Jeff Gordon, which let's just move on to 2014. 2014 is where we have the current playoff format, the 16-man elimination format style. So the way it works is that I split it to 4 rounds. The first round is the round of 16, where where 16 drivers will try to compete for to get the next transfer spot. And after 3 races, it will be the bottom 4 drivers will be eliminated. And then the next round is the round of 12, and it's the same thing here. And the bottom 4 will be eliminated again. And then the final round, and not the final round, the third round is the round of 8, which is the same one as the round of 16 and the round of 12. And now we're on to the final round, which is decided with one race to decide our NASCAR Cup Series champion. And honestly, back then, I honestly liked the playoff format because it's just like football, but that's the problem. NASCAR is not football. Playoffs work in other sports because they're playing against different teams. In NASCAR, you race with every single team. In football, you race in the same stadium, but in NASCAR, you race in different tracks. So, despite 10 years with this playoff format, you know how many times the most deserving driver got to walk away with a championship? I'll tell you. 2017 with Martin Truex Jr., 2019 with Kyle Busch, 2020 with Chase Elliott, 2021 with Kyle Larson. Exactly. Just 4 times that the most deserving driver gets to walk away with the championship. And yes, And yes, I include Chase Elliott because he got screwed over many times that season. You literally have close to like 8 to 10 wins that season. What about the other drivers that won under the playoff format? Well, for Kevin Harvick for standards, Kevin Harvick, that was his first year as SHR, and the reason why he even got the championship is because of Brad Keselowski. It's because of Brad Keselowski being a menace in 2014, where he screws over Jeff Gordon. But what about in 2015? The reason why Kyle Busch won that title is because Matt Kenseth got payback on Joey Logano because in Kansas in the second race of the round of 12, Joey Logano just straight up dumped Matt Kenseth for the win, despite being locked into the next round already. In 2016, this 2016 and for 2016, and this is coming off as a Jimmy Johnson fan, but Jimmy Johnson should have waited more years to be able to win his 7th Cup Series title because that title belongs to Carl Edwards. And the reason why Carl Edwards didn't even won the championship that year is because of freaking Joey Logano. Literally just try to pass back. He was literally trying to pass Carl Edwards to try to fight to get his first Cup Series title. And look at how that turned out. And for 2018, it's just Joey Logano. He was just so dominant that year. What is up with Joey Logano with even number years? 2022, Chase Elliott didn't win that title that year, even though he deserved it way more than Joey Logano. And the reason why is because he was blocking Ross Chastain. Like, I get it, you're trying to compete for the championship, but still, Chase Elliott, I'm a big fan of yours, but you should have waited until the backstretch or something. Yeah, for 2023, I hate to say this, but Ryan Blaney was mediocre all season. Outside of his Coke 600 win, he was mediocre all season long. And honestly, that title should have belonged to William Byron in 2023. And the same thing goes for Joey Logano this year. Joey Logano was having his worst season ever. I think he's even worse than Jimmy Johnson's 2016 season. And the reason why Joey Logano even got into the playoffs is because of his freaking teammate, Austin Cindric. Oh my gosh, Team Penske ruins everything. And with that, Joey Logano was able to win at Atlanta. He was able to get into the round of 8 because Alex Bowman's disqualification. And now he won Las Vegas. Some people theorize it was just race manipulation. I mean, I don't know how. If that's true, then why did he get penalized? That's my question. How can Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, and Bubba Wallace get penalized for race manipulation in Martinsville, but not the Penske boys? You see my point? Team Penske ruins the playoffs. That's just what? And with that, Joey Logano it's your 2024 Cup Series championship, despite having the worst average finish ever, along with Ryan Blaney in 2023. I know some people will say, Chase, don't hate the player, hate the game. And trust me, I hate the game. I promise you. But this one just rubs me the wrong way with Joey Logano's interview about the playoffs.
The reason I thought you might have something to say is that you came in here yesterday and you said that you wanted to come in today and step on everyone's throat. And at the time, I thought that was kind of bold because the thing in sports is always you don't give the other team bulletin board material. So is there any part of you or Paul or RP that's like, Joey, you shouldn't do that? And do you feel any sort of trepidation in making such a bold declaration like that?
I told you I work better under pressure. I got to put pressure on myself, and that's one of the ways. The race started weeks ago, right? And in here is part of the race, so it never stops. And to your point about championships and what it is. The only reason why they don't say this about other sports is because they didn't change the playoff system. But the playoff system in other sports is not much different than what this is. You can have a great regular season, it seeds you better for the playoffs, right? Now, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go all the way to the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup Finals or the NBA Finals. That doesn't matter. It might help you. And it's the same way in NASCAR, the way we have the rules now, is that you set yourself up much better, right? You look at the way we came into the playoffs versus the 5, the 45. Those guys that scored 15 playoff points for winning the regular season championship. That's 3 wins worth of points in 3 races. That's hard to make up that amount of points. And they have the same opportunity to go out there and win and move on to the next round. So for someone to say this isn't real, it's a bunch of, in my opinion, that's wrong. This is something that everyone knows the rules when the season starts. And, we figured out how to do it the best and figured out how to win. It's what our team's been able to do for the last 3 years. So I don't like people talking that way. You know what I mean? Because if the rules were the old way, we would play it out differently, wouldn't we? So I just think that's just a bunch of hearsay back there, and people have just got to accept what the times are. Times change, right? And I don't know if you have a lot of the moments that we have today without the playoff system that we have, right? Like, do you want to see the championship crown with 3 races to go? Because that's what used to happen. That's pretty boring. You got do or die moments, you got the pressure, you got all these things going on in the last 10 weeks, you have guys trying to get into the playoffs, you have that storyline. Gosh, I mean, how many storylines can we make? It's amazing.
Really? You think a long season points format is not better than the freaking playoffs? What? Joey, why are you saying this? No, the playoffs is not better than the full season points format. The full season points format is much better than the playoffs. I just can't stand. Why? This is one example where I have to hate the player and the game at the same time. It's because Joe Logano said he likes the playoffs, and also he thinks the full season points format is boring. That should not. No NASCAR driver should say that ever. I'm gonna say this: the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season seriously have the worst Final Four of all time. Outside of Tyler Reddick, the Final Four this year for the Cup Series, these drivers does not deserve to be in the Final Four. Outside of Tyler Reddick, of course. So what are some changes to make the playoffs better? Well, here's my idea. Instead of deciding to come with one race, how about we make the final race? How about we make the final round 3 races, and the only way to be crowned the championship is by most points. Here's my idea. The round of 16 will stay. Round of 16, the round of 16, round of 12, and round of 8 will all be the same. But the final 4 would come down to the 3 final races of the season, and also the only way to be crowned the championship for my version of the final 4 is that it will be all points only. Like, for example, first place will get 10 playoff. The first Like, for example, first place will get 100 points. Second place will get 75 points. Third place will get 50 points. And fourth place will get 25 points for the Final Four contention for the championship. And whoever driver has the most points by the end of the round will walk away as champion. Oh, and also, don't host the championship race at Phoenix. I'm sorry, but Phoenix does not deserve to have a championship race. I would rather have Richmond as a championship race or Texas as a championship race. That says something. So yeah, guys, that's my opinion on the NASCAR playoffs. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and and share this video to show you guys how bad the NASCAR playoffs is. Anyway, this is Chase TPS, and I'll see you next time.